If you're new to this, take a look at my video on the major scale, where you'll review the various intervals that make up the scale, because that's going to come in handy, and then watch the one on the relative minor, so you'll get a better idea of what it means to shift the tonal centre, and then you'll be up to speed. Normally, when we create a melody from the notes of a major scale, the music seems to revolve around the first note of the scale, that is, the tonic. In this very simple tune, using the notes of C major, the melody wants to come to rest on the note C. We can say that C is the tonal centre. That's the note the C major scale is named after, so it's not really that surprising to find that this note is the centre of gravity. But listen to this tune, which also uses the notes of the C major scale, a famous sea shanty from the British Isles called Drunken Sailor. You can hear that it lands on D, and it's quite happy to stay there. The tonal centre has shifted from C to D, without changing any of the notes of the scale. So what happened? Well, this tune is on a mode of C major, and just to be precise, we say we are in a key, but on a mode. The tune uses the notes of C major, but a different note emerges as the tonal centre. In fact, we're not playing in C major, we're playing on D Dorian. The Dorian mode, then, is the second mode of the major scale. Of course, this works in any key. The notes of A major, for example, would give you B Dorian. And so on. The third of the Dorian mode is minor, meaning the mode makes a minor scale, so we'd say it's a minor mode. You'll see the Dorian mode in lots of folk tunes, for example. Now, the third mode of the major scale is the Phrygian mode. In C major, this would be E Phrygian. It's not often used to create melodies because of the awkward semitone between the first and second notes, which give it an exotic feel. It's sometimes incorrectly referred to as the Spanish mode because this semitone step at the start of the scale is often used in flamenco. Like the Dorian, it's a minor mode. You can see that minor third between the first and third notes of the scale. I was struggling to come up with a good example of a tune that uses the Phrygian mode, but try this. Here's the melody from the slow movement of Rodrigo's Concerto d'Aranjuez. It's originally in the key of two sharps, that's D major, and the start of the melody seems to revolve around the third, F sharp, making F sharp Phrygian. In fact, in the original, given the underlying harmonies, this tune is actually in B minor, but if you hear it on its own, assuming the F sharp is the tonic, it gives you a good feel for the Phrygian mode with that flattened second. The fourth mode, which would be F to F in our original key, is called the Lydian Mode. It's a major mode. You can see it looks very similar to F major, but with a raised fourth. This sharpened fourth gives the mode a bright, optimistic character, which is what you hear in this example. This is the theme from The Simpsons. In fact, the original version is on C Lydian using the notes of G major. Here it is. That sharpened fourth, in this case F sharp, lifts the melody up. Here's the tune on its own. Next, the fifth mode, which is known as the Mixolydian Mode. In our key, it's G to G, and it's just like the G major scale, but with a flattened seventh. Here's a famous example of the Mixolydian in action, the Beatles' Norwegian Wood. Take a look at the notation to see how this works. We have the key signature of 4 sharps, which means we're in E major, but when we get to a D in the melody, it's played as a D natural, rather than the D sharp indicated by the key signature. So we can say it uses a major scale, but with a flattened seventh. That's E Mixolydian, the 5th mode of A major. Anyway, here it is. Okay, if you've already studied the relative minor, then the next mode will be familiar to you. The 6th mode of the major scale is the Aeolian Mode. It's also known as the natural minor because it's the pure form of the relative minor, that is, without the adjustments that make the harmonic minor or the melodic minor. Anyway, it's a minor mode, much like the Dorian, but the Aeolian has a flattened 6th. It has a very folky feel, and the sound of the Aeolian Mode is summed up perfectly by this old Christmas carol, God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen. Here it is on E Aeolian, meaning it uses the notes of the G major scale. The final mode is the Locrian. This is the least common of them all. As a mode of C major, it begins with a semitone, has a flattened 5th, which makes it really awkward for melodies, and a flattened 7th, so it struggles to resolve properly up to the tonic. A melody based on the Locrian mode lacks pretty much any of the elements you need for the tonic to establish itself as the tonal centre. In fact, I don't even have a decent example of the Locrian mode in a popular melody. I need to mention one other mode, and that's the original mode of the major scale known as the Ionian mode. This one, of course, is the easiest to use if you're creating a stable tonal centre. You can say you're playing on C Ionian, for example, or you can just say you're playing in C major. To put all this into practice, try playing or singing an improvised melody using the notes of a major scale, but choose one of the notes other than the key note to act as the tonal centre. You'll be playing on a mode. Take the notes of F major, for example, but select the C as the tonal centre, and you'll be playing on C Mixolydian, or choose D major and focus on B, and you'll be playing on B Aeolian. Depending on which note you've chosen, you might have to work quite hard to sustain your chosen tonic as the tonal centre. You'll hear what the natural tendency of the mode is, that is to say what kind of character the melody has and how you might use it, and how you might bring out the particular features of the mode.